Hey, what's going on, black people? What's happening? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I'm coming in with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and she's actually backstage, and I see her backstage, and I don't know if she wants her camera to be on or not, but I think we were going to do audio today, so she may want to turn her camera off unless she wants me to put her on screen with looking however she looks. Then that would be bad. There we go. Okay, so I got her up here now, and hopefully I can hear her. She's testing out a new microphone. You may want to hit your settings, babe, to see if we can hear you.
Wait,
Um,
can you hear me?
there
You
you
can hear
go.
me, right?
I can hear you now. Very nice. Good job. Good job. All right.
Okay.
So hello everybody. Everybody, shout out the city you're from. Let us know what city you're from. See the Dr. Vibe show. How you doing, brother? Right out of Canada. Yoshika Garner is here. She's ready for the good word. Oh gosh, I tell you, Yoshika, we appreciate you so much and your support. Vic FM, Mike Jones. Shout out the city that you're from. Also, feel free to hit the thumbs up button or share button. All these other things that'll help our channel grow. Also, don't forget that we're on Spotify. So if you have Spotify on your phone, could you please go to Spotify and just look up my name? Look up my name on Spotify. I promise you, you hang out with us, we're going to make you smarter and we're going to make you richer and we're also going to make you happier. So those are three goals that we have for you. I promise you, we will deliver at every level. If y'all keep delivering for us, we appreciate y'all very much. All right, so Jerry Early, out of let's see, I see you're out of LA. I'm going to LA in July, by the way. I'm going to also be in Brooklyn very soon. Let's see, Leona Knight, Pittsburgh, Constance Dubois from Atlanta. Atlanta is where we're hosting the All Black National Convention. So if you want to fly into Atlanta, make sure you do that. Hang out with us. I see Dan Knight from Somerset, New Jersey. Dr. Vibes out of Toronto. Saiwanda Thomas from Detroit. Bishatajina. That's a heck of a name. Dallas, though. She's out of Dallas. I was just in Dallas. I love Dallas. All right. So anyway, how you doing today, babe? I do not hear you right now. Yeah, so check your microphone. And I told her, look, y'all, see, y'all women need to learn how to start listening to y'all's husbands more. And let me tell you why. Because I told my wife, I said, if you test a new microphone right when we go live, it's you're gonna have some problems. If you don't, I said, don't go live with new equipment. And she didn't listen. She didn't listen. Where you at? Are you in there, babe? Can you talk?
Wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I
Can
hear
hear
you
me.
now. I hear you now. So I'm gonna put
Oh,
up a picture of Chris Rock as the place where we're gonna start our conversation. My wife has a funny bone to pick with Chris Rock because she thinks he should have got slapped for talking crazy about Jada, and I just happen to think he's an interesting comedian. But Chris Rock said something really interesting. He was talking about money, and he was basically saying that money isn't about how much wealth isn't about how much money you have. He said wealth is about how many options you have. And so Chris is a guy who has a lot of options from wealth. And today, earlier, if you were on the Black Financial Channel, you'll know that I spoke a little bit about whether or not about how money gives you options and how not having options can put you almost to the point where you feel like you are incarcerated. And so we're going to talk about financial anxiety, and I want to ask you all this question: how many of you have felt just stressed out about money? How many of you have felt like money is just kind of a downer? Maybe financial stress has just kind of kicked you in the butt. Let us know if you've gone through that, or if you feel that way right now, or if you know people who are going through that. I personally think it's a pretty pervasive problem, and I want to help you guys with that. So what I'm going to do is, in a minute, I'm going to shut up and let my wife speak. She is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and I'm even going to put her website up here if you want to get therapy or counseling from her. She's really good at what she does. Coaching with dralicia.com, and we're going to talk about financial anxiety. And I'm going to bring her back in. Baby, you had a lot of background noise, so I muted your mic, but I'm going to unmute you now. So, babe, can you hear me now?
okay. I'm settled. I'm totally settled.
Okay, yeah.
Wait,
Just so you know,
echo.
when you
What's
got
going
that real
on?
sensitive mic, we can hear every single move you make, every single piece of paper you shuffle, all that stuff. So every breath you take,
Let me
every
just.
move you make. But
Oh
anyway,
boy.
so
Okay, I'm settled now, and I'm all together. I'm ready to. Now I'm ready to start.
all right, all right. So you're the star of the show. I was just the guy that did all the
Oh,
yapping a
am
minute
I?
ago to kind of get us started. Let's start with basic anxiety. You said something to me one time when we were on a run that was really interesting to me. I'm really, thinking about a lot about mental health, since you and I got married and stuff like that. Um, you said depression and anxiety tend to go together. That most of the time, tell me if I'm wrong about this. It seemed to me that you said to me one time, you said it years ago. You think I don't hear it, but I hear everything. You said that depression is usually almost always connected with anxiety. Anxiety is almost always connected with depression. Is that true? And why is that the case?
Okay, so first of all, of course, mental health would be of interest to you, Boyce, because you married a therapist. Sometimes I have to remind you of that. Like,
Right, right.
I'm not an accountant. I'm not a business person. I'm a therapist, and you married me. So, of course, just by osmosis, mental health is going to be on your mind. How could it not? Right?
Of course.
So, and I love this topic because like it's the perfect marriage, air quotes, the perfect marriage between like the things that I'm interested in and the things that you're interested in. And I think financial anxiety just makes sense because it guides so much of our decisions of healthy decisions, unhealthy decisions, and all of that is so tied to our emotions. Emotions are important, feelings are important, and a lot of our financial decisions can be guided by just how we feel in that moment. So it's so important for us to kind of look at that. So I just want to say that. I mean, this is like destined for us, boys. I'm going to
Okay.
make
Yeah, I
that
think it is too. I think it is too. And so
okay. Now
why is
I'm
it?
going to answer your question.
Yeah, answer the question. Like, why is it that depression and anxiety are connected? I don't see if I'm anxious, that doesn't seem like I would necessarily be depressed, or if I'm depressed, it doesn't seem like I'd be anxious. What's the connection? Help us understand that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens to us. So I when I look at anxiety and depression, they go together so closely, like the alphabet, like the Q and the U. Remember when you were learning how to spell and everything had the Q, everything with the Q had to have a U next to it to complete the word. So I
Right.
really do think that anxiety and depression are so related to each other because it's the lack of confidence. You know, it's the negative thinking that gets you going, right? It could be some sort of stimulus. So every month, we got bills to pay. What is this, June 2nd? Yesterday, my checking account, went down by a couple of thousand, right? Because a lot of my bills were scheduled to be paid June 1st, right? And so for many of us, it can be anxiety provoking. It could be, oh my God, do I have enough money? Am I going to have enough money? You don't have the confidence that you need to say, I'm going to have plenty. I have plenty. Well, just to make sure that I don't run out, let me plan. Let me go over my budget and look at everything. Let me open my credit cards and look and see how much I spent the month. So a lot of people are just fearful of doing all of those things. The first of the month can be very fearful for people. And that fear can become internalized where you just feel like you aren't going to be able to do it. You aren't going to be able to make it. And that plays over and over into our head, which becomes anxiety. And then you start feeling like you're not good enough and the shame that comes with not having enough money or not being liked enough because, money is tied to how we feel about ourselves and how we want people to feel about us, right? So that's where anxiety and depression come together
Hmm.
so
Okay,
closely.
I think I get that now. Okay, that makes sense. So basically, because I'm scared that I can't fulfill these monthly obligations, and everybody, give me a yes if you understand where Dr. Alicia's coming from. I want to make sure we all get this. It seems that you're saying that because I get anxious because I feel like I can't meet my commitments to all these people or whatever it is that I feel I have to
Overwhelmed,
show up for.
nervous.
And okay, and the nervousness causes me to maybe have some feelings of inadequacy and just general sadness because I'm starting to say, "Gosh, I'm not enough." I want to be the man of the house. I'm not good enough to be the man of the house, or I can't come through for my children, or I can't come, or if I'm an entrepreneur, I can't come through for my employees. I'm gonna have to let somebody go. I don't know if there are any business owners out here, but I'm gonna tell you the hardest thing about running a business was having to fire people. I hate having to admit financial defeat and say, look, we just don't have the budget. It's terrible. And then it makes it even worse when they get mad at you and, like, oh, you're just a jerk and you cut me off. And it's like, it's a terrible feeling. So I think I get it now. I think I get it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's crippling. So I mean, some of what you talked about is just everyday sort of worry that we all tend to have. Now, remember, worry is not a bad thing, right? So worry is excellent. I love worry because worry is a signal to myself that I need to pay attention to something.
Hmm.
So I need to pay attention to it and I need to settle it and deal with it. So like I know June 1st is coming. I have to make sure I go into Bank of America or Chase or wherever you bank. And you have to make sure that, things are set on automatic. All the checks are clear. So the worry is wonderful because once I make sure all the bills are paid and everything is okay for the first of the month, the worry should go away, right? Because so worry is a very motivating factor, right? The worry should go away. Where it gets into financial anxiety for many of us is that you could have plenty of money, but why are you still worried? You know your bills are paid for June. Why are you still up at night continuing to be worried? And that's where it starts to become getting into the clinical piece where you have this excessive crippling worry and there's nothing that can be done. There's no evidence of you having a lack thereof.
By the way, babe,
Um,
I want to
mhm.
interrupt you a little bit because your
Can you hear me?
microphone, yeah, your microphone, we can hear you, but your microphone sometimes is real clear, then it'll go kind of dim, then it'll go real
Oh my
clear again.
goodness.
Yeah, so maybe make sure you're talking clearly and loudly right into it or something. I don't know if that might help.
Oh boy.
But it's like
See, now I'm gonna have crippling worry about whether I'm gonna be heard or not. It's so
yeah,
important.
yeah. I think
Anyway,
yeah.
I know.
Dr. Vibe says your volume is fluctuating. That's how he's. See, I told y'all got to listen to your husbands. I told her.
No,
I said
no, no,
you.
I did. Hold on a second. I did listen to you. I
Oh,
am not using the new mic. I'm using my old mic. So
oh. Well, maybe you know what? Maybe the new mic would have been better than huh. So maybe I was wrong.
yeah, well, that was all the shuffling I was doing. Oh my goodness. We can't get it together on a Friday night. But we cannot get it together. But yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Well, you know what? If you want to, you can come in here and sit next to me, and we can share a microphone because we keep our offices next to each other down the basement. We kind of have like our own little academic department, and so you can come over here and I can just give you kisses on the cheek while we're talking. So if you want to pull up a
Uh,
chair, come on in here, and I'll keep us warm till you get in here. Come on in here. You can share my microphone with
okay.
me.
All
All
right, I'm
right.
gonna turn this off. I'll be right
Okay.
over there.
All
Okay.
right. All right. So everybody, in case you just tuned in, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My wife is Dr. Alicia Watkins, and she is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And one of the things we're talking about today is financial anxiety, and how do you identify the signs? How do you overcome it? How do you fight through it? And so if you could please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Her website is coachingwithdralicia.com if you'd like to see what she does with her clients. Also, my website is boycewatkins.com. And in case you don't know, Dr. Alicia actually wrote a really outstanding financial anxiety workbook where you can determine if you have the symptoms. You can also look for ways to help yourself work through financial anxiety. And to make it easy for you, I put it on my website, boycewatkins.com. So you can find it right near the top, right below my training on how to make money without working. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com and take a look at Dr. Alicia's financial anxiety workbook. So she's in here with me, right next to me. So why don't we continue the conversation? I'd like to know, what are the symptoms? Like, how do I know if I'm struggling with financial anxiety? Like, what tells me that I might be, dealing with it?
Yeah, so financial anxiety happens, first of all, it happens to a lot of us. And we don't really want to talk about it very much because of the shame attached to it, not having enough, fearing that you won't have enough. So it's something that it's a phenomenon that happens to many people, and we cover it up. So you never know why somebody's down, why somebody feels sad about something, because it's like something you don't want to talk about. I mean, just think, how many times have you ever had to tell somebody, I don't have enough, or I
Hmm.
just don't have it, or I'm really worried about bills every month,
Yeah.
or like just something, or I've overspent. I got caught up in the moment. I made these impulse buys and I've overspent. So it's something that a lot of people experience and they don't want to talk about. So that's the first thing. The next thing about financial anxiety is just a fear of even thinking about your finances, especially for people who are married and they have to have conversations with their spouse and their partner to run a household. It's going to having these conversations about money, and a lot of people don't want to have those conversations. They don't want to. I mean, you would think you're married, you got another partner, and the two of you put your money together and you have conversations about how you're going to operate your household, and you don't want your household to be chaotic. And so that's another thing. It's just a fear of your finances, and a lot of it comes from lack of knowledge. Some people just aren't literate enough. They're like, oh my God, I have to do my taxes. I'm so worried about it. I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna put it off until the last minute. People tend to avoid things. That's when you have financial anxiety. You avoid it. You don't want to open your credit card bills up. As soon as someone approaches you, your spouse, or approaches you about money, you're just like, can we just talk about that later? You want to put it off, or you want to make purchases and not even tell your partner about it.
Wow.
You're like, what's those Amazon boxes at the front door? Oh, I don't know. Never mind. Look away. You start having money. That's when there's something going on. And people who have a secure attachment with money are quite comfortable talking about money. They're very, very comfortable with it. They can have these conversations about, here's what I have, here's what I don't have, here's our goals. You can have it with not very much emotion attached to it. It's just something my dad used to tell me. First of all, my dad, he kept a checkbook ledger his whole life. It tells you about it. And I would look at his money. I could see how much was in his checking account. And he would say, don't even pay attention to it. It's just subtractions and additions. It's ebbing and flowing. I mean, he would give me this speech like, there's no emotion tied to this. It's just you pay for things and then you get paid for things. Money comes in and out. And so there's some people who are just so nervous about it. And it can be very overwhelming and can have an impact on your current relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, everybody, you listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and my PhD is in finance. My wife's doctorate is in social work. She is also a licensed therapist. And so just in case you guys don't know, in the Black Business School, where we've helped over 10 million of our people learn how to buy their first share of stock, we also created the world's first Black financial therapy department. So literally our basement is like an academic department. My wife's office is right next to mine. And we just come down here and grind away and work, and just do our best to do our best. So if you could please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. You can follow on Instagram at coachingwithdralicia. Also, if you'd like to take a look at her financial anxiety workbook, feel free to go to my website, boycewatkins.com. I put it up there to make it easy for you guys to find. So feel free to take a look at that. One thing that I was thinking about too, babe, was the link between mental and physical health. Give me a yes in the chat if you believe that mental health affects your physical health. Give me a yes if you think that having stress, psychologically, whether it's financial stress or other kinds of stress, can affect you in terms of your physical health. Maybe cause things like stomach aches, headaches, muscle tension, things like that. I hope you guys understand that and agree with that, because I think it's really important to really sort of talk about this in the overall health context, right? When you talk about, I remember you read a book on health and you were talking about the 4 horsemen of death, and I never forgot it. The 4 horsemen of death was cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. And the way I remember it is an acronym, CHAD, CHAD. CHAD is the angel of death, and this kills millions of our people: cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and diabetes.
And what was the one? What was the four main categories of our life that we need to pay attention to avoid?
Yeah.
So 4 horsemen of death.
I was going to get to that next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to get to that next. So I want to be solution oriented here. So the four ways to solve that problem, to keep the angel of death away, is mental health, exercise, diet, and sleep. And I remember thinking, I remember things with acronyms. Yeah. So that spells MEDS, MEDS, mental health, exercise, diet, and sleep. So I always remember, if you take your meds, you can avoid CHAD. CHAD is the angel of death. And when I think about financial anxiety and I think about all the stress, think about this. How many of you feel like, as Black people, we're kind of born in the middle of financial stress? Like, how many of you feel like, as Black people, like you just kind of expect just growing up that your life is going to be, kind of crappy. You're always going to be stressed out over money, among all the other things that come with being black. I mean, being black is hard enough without being financially stressed. I think that these things that are preventable through some preparation, proactive thinking, good culture, healthy habits, we just, unfortunately, we become partners in our own misery. I don't think, like when I think about what I want for our kids, the biggest thing I want for them is I don't care if you become a dentist or a lawyer. I don't care so much about how much money you make one way or the other. I just want you to be happy. That's it. Because I know
Mhm.
happiness is going to have a vast impact on every other part of your life, your physical health, your mental health, everything else. And money is a part of that. And I think that as black people, we kind of just think that because we're so tough and so strong, that anxiety and depression and economic pain is just a part of our experience. And then you think about how many people get killed over money, go to jail over money, uh, fight with their loved ones over money, date horrible people just because of the money. I mean, so I would almost say that learning about money would be one of the greatest ways to help yourself, not just from a financial standpoint, but also from a mental health and physical health standpoint. So I said a lot right there. And I'd like to get your take on some of that in terms of talking about financial anxiety and just ways that we can kind of confront that and maybe break some of those generational curses.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to some of it, Boyce, which was really the direction I was going to go into next, was that a lot of it starts early on in the household you were raised in. And really, when I talked about your secure attachment with money, a lot of it begins with a secure attachment with a primary caretaker when you're growing up.
Mm,
Having somebody reliable, available, and someone that you can talk to who can give you the empathy is so closely tied to your connection with money right now. So if you had a very secure connection, chances are you're going to have a secure connection with money in your life presently. If you had a very avoidant, where you grew up in a household where someone did not encourage you to talk about how you feel and never validated you and just kind of rejected you, then when you grow up, you'll be avoidant when it comes with money. You're not going to want to talk to your spouse about your future planning and your estate planning. You're just going to do it on your own and become highly, highly independent. And your spouse is walking around clueless about where is the money, do how much do we have, what's going on. You're just never going to open up and talk about money with your partner because you're just going to be like, it's none of their business. I'll handle it on my own. How's that going to work when you have to work as a team in a household, right?
mm,
So that's another thing. And so when you have a very anxious attachment with money, right, when you're growing up, and you had a very insecure attachment, meaning very anxious, so it was inconsistent. You don't know. Sometimes your primary caregiver was there for you. Sometimes they weren't. You couldn't predict your surroundings. You couldn't predict what was happening, and so you grow up, and you're more likely to have a very anxious attachment with money.
okay.
It's connected to childhood. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Well, you know what? I mean, I think you shared a lot of stuff there, and I still go back to that Chris Rock statement about how not having money um, can make you feel like you don't have any options, which is like a type of prison. I visualize a prison when I think about financial stress and anxiety, and the thing about it is having enough money is a relative thing, right? I know people who are financially free who don't even make more than $40,000 a year, and then I know people who are financial slaves who make $1 million a year. So what's crazy is that we think that financial freedom means making a lot of money, and it doesn't. It just means sort of being at peace with the amount of money you make and the expectations and and financial security, which typically comes down a lot of times to not living above your means, right? Not feeling that pressure to impress people who don't matter. We live way below our means. We meet neighbors who are surprised that we live in our neighborhood. They're like, I thought you lived on a hill somewhere. I'm like, why would I do that? That's expensive. And so ultimately, I think sort of letting go of those things, or even just this desire for consumption items that people sort of press into your brain, like I have to have a brand new this and a shiny new that, or a Louis or Gucci and all this other nonsense. That stuff, that's stress, man. That's pressure. So I think money and understanding money and obtaining money can relieve a lot of psychological pressure. but you got to really also consider it within the context of all the other things that keep you balanced and happy as a human being. So what I'm going to do is let you get the last word, and I'll just remind everybody, Dr. Alicia does have a financial anxiety workbook if you want to take a look at it. I put a link to it on my website, boycewatkins.com. We're also going to do some financial anxiety trainings and exercises at this year's All Black National Convention. So I hope that you all will come down to the convention. It's going to be in Atlanta at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. October 20th through the 22nd. I just spoke to my friend Killer Mike, the rapper. He sent me his new album called Michael. And we've been friends for a while, and I want Mike to come to the convention because he came to the first convention that was in Atlanta years ago, and I'd love for him to come back because my goal is to hear from all the people in the community that love Black people that are doing good work. So I hope you'll join us. If you'd like to learn more about the convention, you can either go to my website, boycewatkins.com, or you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Either way. All right, so I'll let you kind of get the last word on some of this.
This is a treat. I get the last word. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I don't want to disagree with Chris Rock too much, but you always have options no matter how much money is in your bank account. I think it's a mentality. Like just because you're rich, you're the only person with options. No, I have options too, no matter what it is. And I think we need to stop getting into this mindset where you're only worthy of so many options based on how much money is in your bank account.
Okay.
That contributes to financial anxiety, that sort of mentality.
Ooh,
so it doesn't matter. You have options no matter where you are and what your situation is. And it's getting better. It's getting better. You need to tell yourself, I'm not where I want to be, but it's getting better every day. I mean, that's a great affirmation to tell yourself. It's getting better every day. Every day it's getting better. Every day I wake up in the morning, my financial situation is getting better. And you have to believe in what you know.
Yes.
You have to know it. You have to believe in what you know and tell it to yourself every day.
Okay. I like that. I like that. And I do agree. Everybody type the word options in the chat. Options. I think that's the goal. I think if you're going to give your kids anything that empowers them, give them options. Options are very close to freedom. Options, I'm an expert on stock options, and I can tell you that the definition of a stock option is the right but not the obligation to do something, basically. That's what an option means. It means you could do it if you want to, but nobody's forcing you to do it. Well, the cousin to the word options is another word Black people use all the time called freedom. Freedom is options. If you have no options, then some would say you have no freedom. So I think that if you want to have freedom, put yourself in a situation where you have options, and that does require some knowledge of self. It requires some courage. It requires you to get off the grid, stop doing what everybody else is doing, because society is built to create sheep and slaves, and I don't want your kids to be either one. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and bounce on out of this pillow talk. We just want to jump in and talk to you guys. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. My website is boycewatkins.com. I put a link to Dr. Alicia's financial anxiety workbook. You can find it right there near the top of my website, right below the free training I put together called How to Make Money Without Working. So if you're tired of working, feel free to take a look at that. I think it's really going to change your life. I know it will. It changed mine. And also, Dr. Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. So if you're interested in what she does as a therapist, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com or follow her at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. So thank you all very much for hanging out. Feet Funkerson, Mike Jones, Linda Veal, Sheila Hawkins, Velda, Denise Jackson, AC Curry, Janet Walden Mills, Christina Littles, Dr. Vibe. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. And don't forget, you can find this podcast on Spotify. Just look up my name, Boyce Watkins. Go to Spotify right now and just find us. And we'll be there too in case you're in the car or you just want to listen. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.